Now, when you first get your clarinet and you open up the case, it may be a bit confusing. There's a lot of different parts. I want to go over the different parts of a clarinet and show those to you and give them a label. So we'll start from the bottom. This lowest piece of the clarinet, the one that's bell-shaped, is called the bell. Makes sense. The longest piece is this big joint here, and it goes next. It's the lower joint. Now sometimes beginners get confused between the lower and upper joints. The lower joint has this thumb rest sticking out of the back, and it's the longer piece. The other long piece, of course, is the upper joint. The upper joint is not quite as long as the lower joint, and it has this keywork extending out over the cork. So that's how you can identify that. The next part is this barrel-shaped piece, and it's called the barrel. And on the top of the instrument, we've got the piece that goes in your mouth. This, of course, is the mouthpiece. Now the mouthpiece should come with this metal piece that goes over to keep the reed on. This part is called the ligature. There's different styles of ligature. Some have the screws facing the reed side, some have the screws facing the top. It depends on that particular design. Now you'll probably also have a mouthpiece cap in your case. Hopefully you will. And that will help protect the tip of the mouthpiece. Now if you remember, the reed, its job is to vibrate and make the sound. So this is where the sound comes from for the instrument. It will do that better if it's wet. So what I like to do is put it in my mouth while I'm assembling the clarinet. And you can just leave it there while you're putting the clarinet together. I'm not going to do that right now so that you can understand me. You'll want to take your cork grease and put some on the cork, and then use your finger to spread it around evenly. And we want the parts to be able to twist together well. Some people find they have to grease their corks more often than other people. It depends on your climate, how thick your cork is, the quality of the cork, different variables. So you probably don't need to put it on absolutely every time you want to play. If it's a brand new instrument or brand new corks, you'll need to put it on more often. Now, you see here we've got all these keys. We don't want to damage the keys when we're assembling the instrument, so you want to be careful. You want to hold on in such a way that you're not going to bend the keys while you're putting the instrument together. So you want to hold firmly and twist that bell on, preferably holding on to as much of the instrument as you can and not onto the actual keys. The lower joint and the upper joint, this is the tricky part we've got. We've got all these keys hanging off, and we want to make sure that they don't get caught into the pieces of the lower joint. So again, you're going to have to hold it carefully. I recommend holding it with your palm on the body, and you can push down on the keys with your fingers. And when you push down on these keys, you'll see this lever comes up, the bridge will come up, and that gives you a little more space to work with. On the lower joint, you'll want to hold on without grabbing the keys. And again, you just twist them together. And you'll see that that bridge that sticks out is going to line up right with this other key, and it's going to rest right on top. You want to make sure it's on top, not on bottom. And if you do that right, all the finger holes will line up in a straight line. And again, be careful where you hold your hand, and twist the bell on. And twist the mouthpiece on. You may want to do that without the ligature on. So you'll see the flat side of the mouthpiece is going to line up with this long key on the upper joint, and then line up with the thumb rest on the lower joint. So we have all of the row of finger holes lined up. and the flat part of the mouthpiece, the long key, and the thumb rest all lining up on the back side. Now we need to put the reed on. So you've been keeping the reed wet while you put the instrument together, so it should be moist. You're going to put the ligature on. This one again has the screws on the flat side of the mouthpiece. And what I like to do is hold the instrument on my knee, on my leg, and then grasp on with my right hand, push up the ligature so that there's space, and then you're going to slide the reed down in. And then pull the ligature down. You want the reed lined up flush with the top of the mouthpiece. And then tighten your ligature. It doesn't need to be really hard and tight. We're just trying to keep the reed from wiggling around. We want it to vibrate freely, but not move from its position. So you can see the top of the reed is lined up flush with the top of the mouthpiece. That's right where we want it. You'll also notice the ligature is down low, so it's on the actual outside of the cane. And if you'll notice on this side of the mouthpiece, the ligature is below the edge. And if you've got a logo, it'll usually show right through. That means you've got it lined up in about the right position. Now you've got the instrument put together. Next, we're going to learn how to make a sound on it.